wanted to share a recent telephone call that I had with my mother. During the course of the conversation, the subject of religion, or more precisely, my lack of religion, came up. And it was the first time that I ever told her that I'm an atheist. Well, there was this long pause, and then she finally said, "You mean you don't believe in God?" Well, I was feeling a little bit feisty that night, so I said, "Which one?" I found that that particular response, which I've used with other people who've asked me the God question, usually elicits a sort of blank stare from the person asking it. Since we were on the phone, I couldn't verify this visually with my mother, but I know that it was the first time she had ever actually contemplated the implications of that answer. What she was really asking me was, did I believe in her version of God? And it's not uncommon for most theists to have that kind of narrow view of reality. Their whole culture is steeped in a sort of ethnocentric, sometimes xenophobic atmosphere that the very thought of an alternative is inconceivable to them. Yet all you have to do is Google the phrase "list of gods," and several million entries will be displayed. For anyone that's interested in what the rest of the world believes or has believed in the past, there's no shortage of information available for someone with an open mind. So I have to ask myself, why do we have this pantheon? I believe that it's in our nature to seek an explanation for everything. As humans, we're blessed and cursed with an inquiring mind. We dislike the unexplainable. It makes us uneasy. So because of that, we have over millennia developed all these mythologies and gods and folklore and superstitions and rituals to give us a sense of certainty in a very uncertain world. Of course, these had to be simple enough for the average illiterate member of the tribe to have understood back then. So throughout the ages, different cultures would offer their own version of reality through these myths and gods, along with the instructions on supporting the hierarchy through worship, rituals, sacrifices. I mean, after all, if you want a good harvest, you have to be willing to give something in return. So over time, these civilizations would wane in power and influence, and eventually their culture would be absorbed into the next predominant one to come along, or it would just simply be conquered by them. Now fast forward to Bronze Age Palestine. There's a twist now. Instead of having several gods, they've narrowed it down to just one. They've simplified the system. But this God, Yahweh by name, is a very difficult fellow to deal with. He is demanding, he's often angry, he's vindictive, he starts wars between tribes, he demands blood sacrifices from people, he rains plagues on anyone who doesn't toe the line, and he's got a set of draconian rules and regulations that would put the IRS to shame. So after a few thousand years, Yahweh decides to come to earth in the person of his own Son to offer redemption to his misguided and ill-behaved flock. All this can be found in the New Testament. You know the story. This version of God and our origins is still in use today by Christians. Well, without another superior culture on the horizon to come along and usurp these various mythologies, it seems unlikely that people will abandon them because they've accepted them all of their lives. Well, during the ensuing thousands of years, our knowledge of the universe has changed drastically. We're now able to understand things about it that would have amazed those Bronze Age prophets. Through science, we can explain a very good part of the world and even a little bit of the rest of the universe. There's still a huge gap in our understanding. There's things that we just can't grasp. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't need to understand every detail about our origin and that of the universe. I realize that with my very limited human mind and how I perceive things relative to my own reality, there's a lot that I simply cannot understand. And I'm okay with that. Unfortunately, for many people, there's that nagging fear of the unexplainable still makes them hold on to an antiquated belief system that prevents them from expanding their mind. I think that as time goes on, that scientific progress will continue to cast light and bring people out of the comforting darkness of religion. The natural progression of knowledge should, I think, replace the mythical explanations of ancient cultures and the ones that most of Christianity to this day still accept and believe in.